Welcome to Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Evangelical Alliance Ireland. I'm Nick Park, and I count it a privilege these early days of 2026 to be able to talk to you about who we are spending our time with. Because what I've been saying is that as we've moved into a new year, and we want this to be a great year, that it's important that we get the right habits in place. And the habits of who we spend our time with are so important. You know, the world's full of men who, for example, wanted to really be great husbands and great fathers, and yet got in the habit of spending more time with their mates in the pub than they did with their wives or their children, with dreadful and entirely foreseeable consequences. It wasn't that they didn't want to be good fathers and good husbands. It's just that they got in the wrong habits of who they spent their time with. I've been talking about spending time with God, and then I was talking yesterday about spending time with our families and how important that is. Today I want to talk about spending time with real friends. I'm talking about people who are positive friends that you build one another up. People that you love. You know, sometimes we take that word love and we just use it in a very, like just to do with physical lust and sex and relationships, intimate relationships like that. But actually, God wants us to have friends that we love, friends that we care about, friends that we make a positive impact on their lives and they make a positive impact on our lives. God wants all of us to have friends who we can actually share our weaknesses with and be vulnerable with, and know that we trust them enough that they're not going to go and blab that all over the place. Some people have been burned in trying to build those kinds of friendships, and they've given up and they just retreat into themselves, and that's not a healthy place to be. We all need good friends. Now, what I have discovered is that when somebody doesn't have those kind of friends, then it puts a stress on some of their other relationships that's too much to bear. I remember years ago I was in a ministers' meeting, and there was this lovely older couple from the United States. We're talking about just building a network of supportive friends and prayer partners. And at the end of it, I remember this guy stood up and he said, "You know what?" He said, "I don't need all of this." He said, "I've got my wife, and my wife is just brilliant. We're so close. We're closer than two human beings could ever be. And I don't need all these other friends and everything else." And it was quite rude of him, actually. I mean, he said this, putting down the couple who'd just been pouring out their hearts on this very important subject. And I just looked over at his wife as he was saying it. And I thought, that's a lot to put on. I mean, the marriage relationship is fantastic. But, you know, your marriage relationship, you're already investing a lot into that. It's already carrying a lot of responsibility. And you don't want to be putting everything onto your spouse, which you should maybe be sharing with some good friends as well, so that to have a support network in place. And actually, that guy that stood up and made that claim about how wonderful his marriage was, he didn't need any friends and everything else, he ended up having to step out of the ministry because of moral failure whenever their marriage actually split up. So, yes, spending time with our family, as we said yesterday, spending time with our spouse if we're married is so important. But we also need real friends round about us. Friends who are not just there for how you can benefit them and help them get on, or how they can do that for you. But friends who really help you to see God more clearly. You know, sometimes we need other people that are close enough to us to even challenge us. Because there are times whenever we think we're so right, and we're always defending ourselves and saying, "Oh no, I did this correctly and I did that, and my view on this is the right one," and everything else. And sometimes we need people that are close enough to us that without falling out with us, and us not falling out with them for saying it, they can actually say, "You know what, have you ever thought you might be wrong on this?" We all need those kind of friends, honest friends that will actually tell us when we are wrong. You know, I'm so grateful for those kind of friends, and when they've spoken into my life and the help that has been to me. And I pray that you will be able to build a network of friends. Again, work out who you can trust. Grow the relationship. Don't just jump in feet first and tell all your intimate details to somebody that maybe is not reliable or trustworthy or a true friend. But seek to build good, godly, strong friendships, and you will not regret it. You will find it's a good habit to be able to spend time in the presence of real friends. May God bless you today. Join us again tomorrow for another Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Evangelical Alliance Ireland.